The countdown has begun, and as Arsenal's season opener versus Crystal Palace looms, the Gunners are still looking to strengthen and Mikel Arteta wants more signings. So today we'll discuss Jarrod Bowen's links to Arsenal, how a transfer of James Maddison could affect Youri Tielemans, and the official departure of Bernd Leno. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14. Welcome yourselves back to your boy's channel, and I have had a very successful day, just as you do when shopping earlier and bumped into Pele's godson Gabriel Martinelli. Amazing scenes there, and also what's amazing is this shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is set to be giveaway, and I am proud to announce the winner of that shirt is Mr. Thomas Mesfin, who was able to confirm that he commented where he thinks Arsenal are going to finish, who smashed the like on the video as I asked, and also followed your boy on the Instagram. But it is now time for the third and final giveaway. If you want to win the Arsenal third kit, this pink beauty, all you have to do is subscribe if you are new, like this video, comments below how many points do you think Arsenal are going to get in this Premier League season, and the most important thing is to follow me on my Instagram. Once you've done that, send me the proof via a DM, and then hopefully one of you guys will win this fantastic new Arsenal kits. But anyways, let's get into the Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with an update on the attackers. We have signed 5 players in this transfer window, but for Arsenal fans, you can never have enough transfers. We want more signings, and likewise does Mikel Arteta, who confirms that we are still hoping to do something else if the market allows. You have seen some movement in the last few days as well. We want to get to the perfect balance and the plan we wanted from the beginning. And if you are to believe the reports that Arsenal are going into this market with £150 million to spend, that means that we still have around £40 million left, and Arsenal then can sign some players. It's still very vital that Arsenal are able to back up Bukayo Saka, who is our only right winger, and the players that Arsenal have been linked to starts off with West Ham United's Jarrod Bowen, as Football London have confirmed that Arsenal have made an inquiry into the availability of Jarrod Bowen. West Ham have made their stance clear: he is not for sale. Bowen's current deal runs until 2025, and the Hammers want to give an improved deal at the end of the transfer window. The player is not for sale, but as confirmed also by Ben Jacobs, Arsenal have definitely made an inquiry about Bowen to see what the situation is. So it looks like Arsenal have genuine interest, which was actually confirmed initially by Team News and Tricks, which has proven to be a reliable source in this transfer window. And he is of course a right winger that last year in the Premier League simply exploded. 12 goals and 10 assists, that's 22 goals and assists, that's 4 more than Arsenal's highest in Bukayo Saka. And he was a massive part of West Ham getting to the semi-final of the Europa League, but again his contract stands with 3 years left on it, and West Ham don't want to sell. And with that being a start, the price tag is going to be hefty. We're talking upwards of maybe £50 million, and as we approach the start of the season, we have to understand that teams don't want to lose their most important players, and that's only going to increase the price tag. And in terms of the player himself, I like him in the sense that he's a final action player, but when it comes to the creative numbers or in terms of dribbles or passes, he's not got the best of underlying numbers, and he's not a player that I can see displacing Bukayo Saka, because I don't think he has the same level of talent. Yes, Bowen gets goals and assists, but he plays in a 4-2-3-1 and is more of a number 10 than he is a touchline winger like Arsenal require. Even though Arsenal have definitely made an inquiry, I just don't think it's a transfer that I can see happening. Moving on to Cody Gakpo, as according to Dean Jones, Arsenal are favourites currently to sign the Dutch winger Cody Gakpo from PSV. Leeds are also interested, but have now signed Luis Sinisterra and have plenty in Gakpo's position. And Arsenal's interest has always been confirmed by the reliable Rick Elfrink. Mikel Arteta is said to be a massive fan, but the key part about Gakpo isn't the goals or the assists, it's more the profile of the player. Gakpo excels as a left wide forward, the position of Gabriel Martinelli, and also Emil Smith-Rowe. The wide forward that I think Arsenal need is more of a backup and a competition for Bukayo Saka on the right hand side. Potentially Arteta sees Gakpo as an option on the right hand side that he can convert there. but it's not ultimately his natural position. I'm also wary of not disrupting the current Arsenal front three, having seen Jesus, Saka and Martinelli thrive so much in pre-season. The fact they're all so young, the fact they're only going to get better with experience, the fluidity, the instant chemistry. Gakpo and Bowen are good players, but I think if Arsenal are going to sign a wide forward, it's going to have to be a more special opportunity. In fact, that's confirmed via Fabrizio Romano, saying that Arsenal will monitor the situation of a new winger if a top level opportunity arises under acceptable conditions. Just like how Arteta says, if the market allows. That means that if certain players they might have targeted or liked become available that are more suited to what Arsenal need than the current options of Gakpo and Bowen, maybe the likes of Leroy Sané, or one that I'd say is one to watch is maybe the one of Michael Olise, Crystal Palace's wide forward, able to play on the right hand side. Reports have claimed that he has a £35 million release clause in his current contract, and the fact that he's still 20 or 21 years of age, I think he's set to explode. And if he isn't to be at Crystal Palace, if Arsenal could sign him, in my opinion, it could be a sensational signing, but also one that so far we haven't received any reports about. That being said, if you could sign one wide forward in this transfer window, let me know who would that player be. On to the future of Nicolas Pepe, as according to Graham Bailey of 90 Min, Newcastle United have been offered a host of high-profile forwards in recent weeks, including Timo Werner, Memphis Depay and Nicolas Pepe. Pepe's departure to Arsenal was something that at the start of the window looked bang on. The likes of Inter Milan, AC Milan had rumoured interest, but no bids have come so far, not even a team has opened negotiations, and Pepe is all but certain to be an Arsenal player come the start of this season. So what I'm thinking now, with the wide forward links being pretty vague, more inquiries and just interest, will Arsenal end up keeping Pepe as the backup option to Bukayo Saka? But keeping it on the departures, what about Bernd Leno? Well, according to David Ornstein, Fulham have reached an agreement with Arsenal to sign Bernd Leno, fee in the region of £8 million. Final details are being sorted out between the clubs, personal terms are in place, and the 30-year-old goalkeeper is expected to undergo a medical next week before completing a move. It's a transfer which for the player makes a lot of sense to stay in London to play in the Premier League. It optimises his chances of making the squad for the World Cup. But is £8 million the best deal that Arsenal could have got for a Premier League proven goalkeeper who is a full German international in the peak of his powers? Personally, I think Arsenal could have got better, but I think Arsenal here have respected the desires of Leno, who wants to move as soon as possible to maximise his chances of adapting at a new club. With the amount of other players that Arsenal also have to sell, it might have forced the hand of Edu Gaspar to really agree a transfer, and I guess £8 million is what it is. If we can then use that money again alongside the other transfers for a new signing, then I don't think Arsenal fans are ultimately going to complain. Let's now get an update on the midfield. The potential arrivals of Youri Tielemans, Lucas Torreira, it's what Arsenal fans are thinking about. But to sign players, as Edu Gaspar has made clear, Arsenal have to sell players first. And reports in Italy have claimed that Torreira is very close to signing for Galatasaray. Negotiations continue with Arsenal, but there is a 3-year contract with an option of another season worth €3 million net a year on the table for the player. Moving to Galatasaray is certainly a weird transfer and one that I'm not too sure about, but one thing I am certain about is the links itself, because they have been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, saying that Arsenal have received Galatasaray's proposal for Lucas Torreira. It would be a permanent deal waiting for the player to agree on personal terms. Arsenal are prepared to accept and sell Torreira immediately. The rumoured price tag is close to £6 to £8 million. Again, it's not amazing, but at this current point, the likes of Torreira, Bernd Leno and players like that, they don't have long-term futures at Arsenal. They want to leave the club, and it's best to get these players out as soon as possible. Arsenal have tried the patient game, but when you have players that are forcing a transfer out of the club, it's very hard to negotiate a decent price tag. It's also going to be very intriguing to see, does he accept the personal terms? The fact that Torreira has made clear that he didn't quite adapt in England because of the language barriers. Moving to Italy made sense, moving to Spain made sense. Moving to Turkey is a bit of a wild card, it's a bit out there, but as long as Arsenal are able to get him out of the door as soon as possible, then hopefully that allows Arsenal to sign some more players. And on the midfield signings, Fabrizio Romano says, Edu Gaspar is a big fan of Lucas Torreira, but Arsenal are yet to submit an official proposal. Leicester's midfielder Youri Tielemans is still a name on Arsenal's list, but the two clubs are not yet in negotiations over a possible transfer. Yeah, well, there's nothing new there. It's the same old boring interest to Tielemans, liking Paqueta, but Arsenal just aren't making any moves. Despite of that, according to The Guardian, Leicester expect Arsenal to make a move for Youri Tielemans, but are yet to receive any offers for the Belgian midfielder. For a very long time, reports have claimed that Arsenal are preparing an offer of £25 million, and those reports were confirmed by some reliable people. But closing into the first week of the season, no offer has been made. One, but two, Leicester are now in a very intriguing position, and that is because Newcastle have made a £50 million bid for James Maddison. With Newcastle making serious moves there, are Leicester prepared to let go of two of their key midfielders in Maddison and Tielemans in the same transfer window? But according to Ben Jacobs, Leicester accept that if an acceptable offer arrives, they will sell Tielemans even if Maddison will leave this summer. There's a key difference here, and that is that Maddison has a long-term contract and Leicester actively want to keep him, but in the case of Youri Tielemans, because he's currently running down his contract, Leicester have no choice but to sell the player. It's either £25 million or a free transfer next season, so that's why I think Arsenal can still sign Tielemans. I still have a confidence they can get a deal done. Those infamous personal terms are still agreed, but I understand that it is now getting incredibly boring of saying the same things week in week out. So look, maybe the departures of Torreira and Leno, once Arsenal collect those transfer fees, maybe that's when Arsenal finally choose to make the offer for Youri Tielemans. But in terms of other midfield targets, according to Italian source Repubblica, Arsenal have joined Chelsea in the race for Inter Milan 19-year-old midfielder Cesare Casadei. Well, who do we have here? As the report says, 19 years of age, a youth player for the Italy national team, yet to make his first senior appearance for Inter Milan, but the price tag is set upwards of £17 million. For a player that has never played a single professional game, that is a hefty price tag, but he's also a player that comes with a lot of hype. And last season from midfield, for the Inter Milan youth teams, he scored 14 goals. But that's about it. I have never watched his player play. I can't give you any sort of judgment or analysis, but all I can say is that if Arsenal spend £17 million on a player that has never played a single competitive game, when you have Tielemans available for 25, it would be incredibly confusing to say the least. But keeping it on the midfielders, Fabio Vieira has returned to training. Fabio Vieira is getting closer and closer to an Arsenal return, or should I say debut, and he's a player that I think Arsenal fans should keep an eye on. And as Mikel Arteta evolves into a far more attacking 4-3-3, do not be surprised if you see Fabio Vieira thrown in to replace Xhaka in a midfield 3 alongside Martin Odegaard. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with the future and the confirmed transfer of Arsenal youngster Folarin Balogun, as Fabrizio Romano confirms full agreements completed between Arsenal and Reims for Folarin Balogun. Documents are to be signed in the next 24 to 48 hours. And the player will soon be on his way to France in order to undergo medical tests. It's a loan move valid until June 2023. So Balogun is on his way to France, and according to Fabrizio, rejected proposals from Premier League sides to go to Ligue 1 instead. It's a very intriguing case, but I think what's more important for Balogun is less of where he's going, but more of how much is he going to play. Experience is the best way for players to grow, as we have seen with William Saliba. Then if going to Ligue 1 is his best bet for minutes, then I am all for the transfer, and it's one that we are going to keep an eye on. We also have to give a massive shout out to the Arsenal women of Beth Mead and Leah Williamson, helping England win the 2022 Women's European Championships. Beth Mead was player of the tournament, and Leah Williamson was the captain of the country, leading the nation to glory. I was at the game, it was beautiful scenes, and the Arsenal women are doing their thing once again. The Arsenal are massive on that scene, and it's things that personally I love to see. Takehiro Tomiyasu has also returned to full training. The fact that Tomiyasu didn't play a single minute in pre-season is definitely worrying, but now that he's getting closer to full fitness, here's a stat for you guys that Tomiyasu had a crossing accuracy of 42% in the Premier League last season, the best return in the division for 30 plus crosses attempted. There's no doubt in the quality of the player, it's just a matter of availability, but now that he's getting closer to that, With Ben White adapting as the inverted right back, do you think that Tomiyasu is a guaranteed starter for Arsenal? Let's talk about it down below in the comments. That is the video there and there, so hopefully you have enjoyed. Smash a like if you do, subscribe if you are new. If you want to win that brand new Arsenal pin kit, then all the details of how to win it are down below in the description, but most importantly follow me on my Instagram. But that was today's episode of the Transfers FC. Youri Tielemans, Jarrod Bowen, more signings are wanted, but now the focus is all on Crystal Palace. Friday night footy is gonna be interesting, but until then, take care of yourselves and remember it.